let's now connect with Commander Gautam Nanda, Associate Partner and Lead at Aerospace and Defense, Government and Public Services at KPMG in India. And good morning, sir. Thanks so much for joining us on the show. First up, help us understand the moves that we have seen coming in the entire defense space. Of course, after everything that has happened right now on our altercations with our neighbor, there is renewed confidence in India's defense capabilities. Give us a sense of what kind of the moves that defense stocks have also seen recently. Give us the sense on how India's defense preparedness looks right now. What's the confidence when it comes to India's indigenous homemade defense manufacturing now that our indigenous systems have also been working so wonderfully?
Good morning to you. Pleasure joining in for this call. I'll take this in two bits. The first one, which you asked me, was about the preparedness. Well, we've always been prepared, and I think so that the people in uniform have commented enough on it to showcase our preparedness for any kind of conflict which happened in the past or in the future. Coming to the indigenous part of defense manufacturing in India, we have moved down that path considerably. There has been a push towards indigenization in the last 10 years, where most of the equipment which we were earlier procuring, the component and the sub-component level, are being produced in India. We've had some great success stories where guns have been made by Indian OEMs and not only being supplied to the Indian Army, but globally also. So indigenization has made an effect, and we are going down the path where self-reliance is a vision which would be achieved in the near future.
Okay, also want to get your sense on our vision for 2047. A large part of this has to do with a lot of exports. India wants to become a key exporters of defense equipment. Tell us if we are on track to achieve that by 2047 amongst the other goals that we want to achieve by said year.
Interesting question. We have a vision for 2047. We were behind the R&D curve, which was there. So if you see the defense manufacturing ecosystem, the research and development takes the majority of the time before actually the equipment gets into production. There were places where we have been behind the R&D curve, but the vision being envisaged for India is that we take lead in niche technologies, where we have, that is the cutting edge technologies, the kinetic operations which have happened in the recent past. We take a lead there. With regards to defense exports, yes, that has grown again phenomenally over the last few years. We are expecting that to happen more. What has happened is basically that we are becoming part of the global supply chain. So there are two parts to this whole export story. One is where we are exporting platforms and equipment and products, as you would call it, not only to India, but around 80 odd countries globally. And in addition, Indian companies are now becoming part of the global supply chain. And there are immense number of success stories in India, not only at a tier 1 level, but at a startup and MSME level also, where this thing is today more than 25,000 MSMEs are part of this defense manufacturing ecosystem. So yes, we are on a path to achieve our goals when it comes to defense exports. And yes, we would be heading towards our vision of taking lead in the niche technologies as we move ahead.
Along with that, what we are seeing right now in the current situation is that the way, in a way, these actions are taken care of, that has actually changed, because in terms of what was earlier used to be missiles, tanks, etc., now the nations are focusing more on newer technologies like drone, and they believe that the cost of life is actually is much higher. Give us some sense that in terms of the technology advancement, where do you see this transition shaping up? Which are the new technologies that India can venture into? And do you also believe that this drone theme can actually get even bigger from here on?
Okay, so for this, let's divide a battlefield scenario into three different aspects. The first thing is surveillance. So you need to be sure where you are going to be carrying out attack or anything in terms of whether that's a friend or a foe. So the first piece in a battlefield scenario which becomes very important is to understand the what is going on there. So surveillance becomes a very important piece wherein drones come in. Now, as you have seen across the globe where the conflicts have taken place, two things are very of paramount importance. That is human life and collateral damage. Now, when you look at human life, the first thing which comes in is that we are moving towards autonomous vehicles, let it be on ground, air, or under the sea. So we are looking for platforms where there is no human involved in it. There might be a human at the other end of it executing what the platform performs, but we are looking for platforms which are unmanned and therefore can be sent into the battlefield without the loss of the human behind it. And the third thing is collateral. That's where the third part of the technology piece fits in, where we are looking at precision weapons. So when you're carrying out any kind of a strike, it has to be very precise to avoid any kind of collateral damage. So my experience and my perception is that we are moving into a space in future technologies where you're going to be having more unmanned vehicle platforms, and you'll be looking at more precision guided munition or missiles that will be moving ahead. Coming to the drones part, yes, drones has been a success story. Drones have been used in various forms across these three things which I have mentioned, in surveillance, them being unmanned, and also carrying out precision strikes. So if you look at drones being a part of the future battlefield, yes, Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict was the first one which actually proved the how effectively drones were used against the armored during that conflict. So drones is there to stay. There will be advances in technology, and you will be seeing more niche technology coming in when it comes to unmanned platforms, including drones.
Appreciate that view on UAVs. Clearly, lots in store for that segment. But so, also want to get your view on the defense spending that India is aiming to do. It's currently 1.9% of the GDP. The aim is to reach 4% of the GDP. Now, while the government is going to go all out, all cylinders on this, help me understand what could be the contribution or the role that the private sector could play here, because we also have major private sector companies that are now foraying into aerospace manufacturing as well.
You're absolutely right. Private sector participation has gone up in the recent past. We are looking at more than 25% of our present defense production happening through private sector. And we see increase in that as we move ahead, precisely because the market is going to be growing. The DPSUs would be playing a major important part in it, but the private sector participation is going to go up. With regards to the defense budget, I would not like to comment on it. Presently, what you have indicated is absolutely right. It's 1.9% of our GDP, and there are expectations that it should be going up in the near future.
And also give us some sense that with now this defense pack and this theme is definitely in focus on the back of what's been happening across the border. Give us some sense that do you anticipate a scenario wherein government and the private participants can actually go ahead and increase their capex rather? And even with respect to the budget announcements, do you believe that there could be a situation wherein what already has been announced in the budget in a special case scenario, government can even consider to increase their defense spendings?
It's a very speculative question. I think what I would more than that recommend would be that there should be more private sector participation, where they need to invest rather than in capex more into R&D, because that will help us drive this sector and us achieve our export aims, our vision as we move ahead for 2047. So I think more than capex, it would be more prudent for private entities to be investing in research and development, so as to have the leader advantage in across the globe. Whether government will go on a case-to-case basis to increase the defense spending based on some conflict or some situation, it's anybody's guess. I would not like to comment on that as well.
Okay, appreciate that view. Commander Gautam Nanda, thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing your outlook on the road ahead when it comes to India's defense. On that note, we'll let you go.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.